Mr. Sparty's here, Bill Beekman, my buddy. Bill is a JD and an MBA, and he's just a smart dude. Been around, got 5, 6 different key positions at the university. Let's just start at the beginning. You just talked about your parents' meeting at Groesbeck. This guy has got more roots in Lansing and East Lansing than anybody else. So you start you go to Okemos High School, and you're starting out there at Michigan State. You meet your wife. She finally gives you the privilege of marrying her many years later after you burned up some mileage going back and forth from law school. But what has changed now, Bill, as an undergrad? Let's start with an undergrad and then we'll just move into your jobs. But what has changed in your perspective as an administrator at the institution at a very high level? What would you like the parents to know so they can navigate this very complex situation that's out there with higher education? Please give us some of your input.
Yeah, I think that the university has changed. It's changed a lot since I graduated in 1989, and it's just I'm always, as a person who spends every day on campus. Things come and go, and buildings come, and we maybe occasionally take a building down. We build programs, develop colleges. And kind of in the way that if you see somebody every day, you see your child every day, you don't notice kind of how they grow, but you see somebody else's kid after a year, and you're like, oh my goodness, how much they've grown. And I'm always amazed at friends that come back that maybe haven't been on campus for 10 years that are just blown away by how much the place has grown and developed, and things that kind of when you're here every day, you tend to sort of forget about. Because you're just around. But certainly since I was a student, the place has really exploded. In terms of offerings and programs. I think the sophistication of what it means to come to higher ed institution. I think the value of an MSU degree continues to rise every year, and and really we're an extraordinarily comprehensive place. And I think the beauty of Michigan State is that there are few things we don't offer. We don't have an architecture school, for example. There are a handful of things that we just don't do. But by golly, just about anything you're interested in, you can find at MSU. And I think, I was just earlier today, a meeting with a couple of deans, and one of the things we were discussing was collaboration across colleges. And at MSU, the barriers, the walls, the silos are really very, very low. And students that want to double major or take classes across colleges, it's very easy to do. Our faculty, we recruited 2 highly regarded faculty about 7 years ago, one from Harvard, one from Stanford, both biomedical researchers. And they came to MSU from probably 2 of the most prestigious places on the planet for biomedical research. But they came here because they saw opportunities to collaborate with others in a place where there were very few barriers. So when you're doing biomedical research and you can walk into the engineering building and talk to engineers about how things work. You can go over to a place like James Madison or the College of Social Science and talk about the policy implications of expanding a new drug into a new set of classifications for treatment. And what are the policy implications, the legal implications, the liability issues, all of those kinds of things that social scientists and political scientists think about. And those barriers really are very seamless here at MSU. So academic programs, students can study all kinds of different things with different perspectives. And what's equally important is that the faculty can do research across those boundaries. And so it really is an extraordinary place. And I think one of the things I tell young people coming to MSU is that you have to take advantage of the big place and the small place and find your home, find your niche, but take advantage of all those things that the university has to offer. It's the big and the small that make MSU great.
You were AD for a while, and and amongst other of your other five administrative big jobs. Could you ever have imagined in your time throughout all of your jobs, but especially as an athletic director at Michigan State, the changes that have occurred in the last few years?
Yeah, it has been extraordinary, and the sort of the chaos that currently exists with really the lack of rules governing payment of players, NIL, with name, image, likeness is what that stands for, are unprecedented in the history of athletics and college athletics. And yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how it sorts itself out over the next handful of years, particularly with football and men's basketball, which, in our athletic department, football would generate, generally speaking, about 80% of the revenue. Basketball would generate maybe men's basketball, maybe 15% of the revenue. Hockey in a very good year, like the year we're having now, would break even and maybe make a little money. And then the revenue that you take from football and men's basketball, you'd essentially spend to fund all of your other operations, activities, and sports. And so those two high generating, revenue generating sports really are extremely important to any athletic department. And in our case at Michigan State, one of the most interesting aspects of our department is we're one of about 20 in the country that are fully self-sufficient. So tuition dollars, revenue, funds that we get through our state appropriation, none of that goes to the athletic department. The department it's able to spend the money that it brings in through TV revenue, tickets, sponsorships, those kinds of things. So it really is a closed loop. And I've always liked that aspect of athletics because it keeps the tuition going to our educational mission, our state appropriation going to our educational mission, and athletics funds itself. But that does make it's a business, and it's increasingly a challenging environment as the numbers that we're paying players and coaches continue to go up and up and up.
Can they sustain this, Bill? I mean, it's a matter of it's well documented that the athletic department has run a small deficit the last couple of years, and now they have all this NIL stuff and they're paying players. And I mean, you got to be so creative with some of the revenue generation stuff. It's just insane. I mean, when you say chaos, I say, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, what are they going to, how do you manage a business like this?
Well, it's really hard. And there used to be some boundaries around these things. And as those have evaporated, it just gets harder and harder. And yeah, I'm not sure anybody that can predict the future they're either naive or they're telling you something that isn't true. I'm not sure anybody could tell you exactly where this is headed, but at some level, decisions will have to be made, and because the funding for these things isn't unlimited, and so athletic directors will have to make decisions, universities will have to make decisions about what sports they prioritize, even if you have the sport. If your golf team can offer 4 scholarships and mine can offer 5, you're at a competitive disadvantage. And yet people are going to have to begin to pick and choose and make some of those choices unless caps are put on these numbers in some way. But those are going to be very, very hard choices. And there will be winners and losers in ways that may be unprecedented unless the federal government steps in with legislation, or the NCAA and the schools come to some agreement. But even with the NCAA, things have gotten beyond their control with the ongoing litigation and national class action lawsuits that have occurred. So it's an unpredictable environment. The one truism seems to be that things get more and more and more expensive. And it simply will reach a breaking point at some point where athletic directors are going to have to make pretty tough decisions.
Vice President and Secretary of the Board of Trustees. What does that mean?
Well, what that role is I really, if you picture a triangle, and one part of the triangle, one angle is the president, one is the vice presidents, and the third is the university's board of trustees. You sort of sit in the middle of that triangle and try and make sure that everyone's coordinated, communicating on the same page, that you're taking the work that the vice presidents do, making sure that the board understands that, making sure that it all works with the president's agenda. So you're sort of this glue person in the middle of three pretty complex sets of people.
That sounds like a job that probably doesn't pay enough. Mr. Sparty's here, Bill Beekman. Bill, how would you like people to connect with you? What phone numbers, emails, whatever you like?
Well, my email is just my last name, Beekman, Beekman at msu.edu, and stand ready to answer any questions or be of help to people as they navigate the terrain that is Michigan State University. But our website is msu.edu, and the university is an extraordinary place, both for students, researchers, and people. Are many offerings to the community, whether it's things people are familiar with, like the Wharton Center or our athletic programs. But the planetarium runs programs on a weekly basis that are really quite spectacular. So there are so many avenues within which to encounter the university and experience the university. Our residence halls offer dining to the public. Yes, please get on our website at msu.edu, and questions can be directed to me at beekman at msu.edu. And I just hope, Tom, that your listeners find a way, whether they're near and can come on campus or far and can take advantage of things remotely, to experience the great place that is Michigan State University.
Living in the Lansing, mid-Michigan area, being close to Michigan State University is a wonderful, wonderful place because of the cost of living isn't bad. There's so much to do. You've got the state of Michigan. You've got all kinds of stuff. Please talk about that, Bill. I'm sure you're aware of all that.
No, Tom, you're absolutely right. And it's one of the reasons that I've enjoyed working at the university and stay at the university. Uh, the opportunity to interact with young people, with our students. Sometimes it's a little unnerving when you discover that something that's a contemporary experience to you, students have never heard of because they're just that much younger. But it's also great fun, getting their perspective on the world, how they see things, how things have evolved. And no, from my perspective, it keeps you young and engaged and interested in the world. And it's an opportunity to interact with young people. Also, the university is a learning environment. And so, most people are here to be learners of one sort or another. Our faculty are doing research that makes them learners every day. And so, there's a real emphasis and priority on learning and growth. And it is a spectacular environment to live in.
Bill Beekman's our guest today. We're going to run out of time here because we only got a couple minutes to go here. And we didn't get it. We'll definitely have you back to talk more. I'd like to get a takeaway from you, though, about the university. You could talk about Luana, you could talk about whatever you want, but please there's a couple minutes left before we got to wrap this bad boy. And I want to give you time to just sell the university. So please go right ahead.
Well, I've always thought that, a university really isn't the buildings or the grounds or the property. Universities are really about people, and and the mission of our university is unique in that we were founded in 1855, but we became part of the Morrill Act and the land grant colleges in July of 1862, when President Lincoln signed the Morrill Act. And what that really did was it moved from an environment of only the very wealthy having the opportunity to have a college education to the sort of the what might have then be thought of as the middle class and others having the opportunity to experience a college education. And so, to me, Michigan State is this extraordinary place of opportunity where anybody really can come and grow and learn. And yeah, it's been so much of who I am that I just couldn't say anything better about it.
Bill Beekman's the bomb. Guy's awesome. He's so helpful. He's so giving. I mean, he gets handed all these assignments and he just takes them on. He just takes them on. And I love the guy. He's just a quality human being. And you know what? He's a supporter of Luana Simon, who again we adore. And so that's that. I'm Papa Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining, subscribing, doing all those good things. If you want to go see some fun shorts, go to our YouTube channel, Tom Matt Show. Go to our website, tommattshow.com. It's all right there. It's all so easy, and I appreciate all of you very, very much. Until next time, peace out, everybody. Love y'all. Have a great day.